the voting. Are you done? Because we're on TV now.
It's disgusting. It's disgusting.
You ready?
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the village board meeting and workshop prior to that with the town of Guilderland. It's nice to see so many people coming down tonight to possibly share some thoughts or listen and things like that. Would you, before we start, will you please rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance with me? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So I want to welcome all the representatives we have from the town of Guilderland. We thank you so much for coming tonight. As everyone has heard, one way or the other, I think, there's been some tax implications and changes with the town budget for 2026 that will affect the village of Altamont. And I thought it would be a good idea, and the board thought so as well, if we talked to Guilderland about coming down to talk through the numbers and the process with us, because it's harder for us to explain when it's not our budget. So that's why we asked them to come, and they were gracious enough to come down tonight and do a budget workshop. And I think what we're going to do, tentative plan, things could change as we see how things go. Once we introduce you to who's here, I was going to ask if somebody would want to give just a brief summary, kind of like what you did at the town meeting recently.
Sure, yeah.
About how we got here.
Yep.
And then if the board had questions, I know we have some questions perhaps, and then maybe open it up to the floor for people who are in the audience. I'm going to set a 3-minute limit though for each person, just so we have time to, I know some of the town members have meetings they have to get to, and I know that we have business for our meeting as well we have to get to, so we'll give it the time it needs, but I just want to have a limit so everybody can be heard, okay? So I'm going to go to Supervisor Barber from the town of Guilderland, if you will, and
Sure.
introduce everybody maybe?
I will introduce who I have here. Next to me is Jessica Gullickson. She is both the fiscal officer and the town budget officer. We also have Amanda Beadle, who is a town board member, sitting here, but not at the table. It's Christine Napierski, deputy supervisor and town justice-elect. Congratulations.
Congrats.
And Lynn Buchanan, the town clerk.
Well, welcome, and thank you again for coming.
So, want me to give you a quick overview?
I think that would be great. That would be
Okay,
great.
well, welcome to our crazy world, first of all.
Sure.
I don't know how often the village goes to a audit. We get one about every 10 or so years. They give you about a year's notice to tell you they're coming. So we got notified, or actually, they showed up, I think, in the first part of January, and they were there probably for 4 months, looking at every single thing you think of. I mean, literally everything. Every check, every invoice, just making certain things were done right. And then they decide, after that review, that they're going to look at other items in more depth. And one of them was the sales tax. Now, I don't want to make this too complicated, but it's basically, the town has 2 funds. Actually, it has more than 2 funds, but really 3 funds that are relevant for this purposes. The A fund, pretty easy to remember, that includes Altamont, so it's the all-town fund, 100% of the town. The B fund and the DB means highway, is a part-town fund, so that includes the part of the town that does not include the village. For property tax purposes, that's 97.5% of the town. So I always think it's almost an A fund and an A minus fund, because they're basically the same. But the problem you have is this New York State sales tax allocation, which was passed back in 1965. I'm not going to bore you with all the details. It basically says, and I have Jess here can chime in if I get this all wrong. Basically says if a town has a village, that a town shall reduce the property taxes in basically the B, that's not include the village, and the DB, and the highway not including the village, before it can use its discretion to then do the same thing for the benefit of all the funds. Okay, so that gets passed back in 1965, 60 years ago, not one change in the law since then. No mention of EMS. Back in 1965, EMS was volunteers. EMS is one of our biggest budget items now. No senior services, there's really not much going on. So during that audit, we had repeated conversations, and I'm going to credit Jess here for backing me up on this, basically telling the controllers that you are wrong, because it says to reduce, not reduce to zero. They literally said we have to reduce to zero the property taxes in the part of budgets that does not include the village. I hope I'm not confusing you too much, but it gets really annoying because it says reduce, it does not say to zero. So we did reduce the property taxes, and then we used what we had to benefit the aid fund, including the village of Altamont. And it's my point, and I told them this, you're basically, the sales tax is the largest revenue source the town gets. And with your archaic system, you're basically asking us to treat the village residents different than town residents. That's something we refuse to do for basically 10 years, because I still think our interpretation of the statute is correct. But we live in the controller's world, where the controller's decisions really can't be challenged. There's no ability to get a court to take a look at this. There's no time really to even do it. So the town board had to decide a couple of things. One, screw the controller and just do what we've always done. Not a good thing to do, because part of the process is we have independent auditors who come in and they want to make sure we're following the controller's guidance. And two, we have to file an annual financial disclosure report that says that we're complying with what the guidance is. It's so frustrating because I think they're wrong, and I have reason to believe that they know they're wrong, but the auditors basically have to follow the legal advice that they're given. So the town board has to decide to either ignore what the controller did, or two, follow what their opinion was, or do we phase it in over 3 years or whatever? And after talking about it and really, talking some more to the OSC, the Office of the Controller, it was decided that we were going to have to go forward this year. The difference between this sort of audit and a department audit, and I know that's when some people saying, oh, your correction action plan looks forward, you didn't have to do it. That's not true. Department audits basically, and we had a department audit of our IT department. That's forward-looking. You adopt policies, you change programs, you may enhance some of your software, you may do things in the future. But they basically, not only did they want us to do it for the current, upcoming budget, they want us to amend the current 2025 budget halfway through the year. And we basically said flat out, no, we're not going to do that. But we will comply for 2026. We were hopeful that the legal department would agree with our argument, but in the end, a report that was just issued 5 days ago basically almost said, no, they're basically saying they agree with themselves. They basically rely upon their own opinions to say, that they're right. So what does that mean for village residents? Well, the village has its own government. It provides a lot of services that the town doesn't provide. So by the time you look at a village property tax bill, about 2% of your total tax is paid to the town. 98% is paid either to the county, to the village. The school district takes a huge chunk. Even the library took more. Altamont Library took more. There's only 2%. So it's only on that 2% that the increase applies to. It's not 162% on your total tax bill. It's on 2% of your tax bill. And you can probably guess when you have a 2% amount, you add anything to it, it's a big number, type of thing.
You started that conversation off with village. Did you mean to say town?
What's that?
Because you started your conversation off with village, not town, but yet you're talking about school tax.
No, I'm saying basically, let me make this clear. The town tax for village residents is about 2% of your property tax bill. The village tax is about roughly 7 or 8% of your property tax bill. The county's about 13%, and the school district is somewhere around 72%. So the town is only 2%. So it's on that 2% that the increase is applied. It does not apply to the other 98% of your tax bill. Again, we think they're wrong, but we got to live by it. There's nothing we can do for this. Otherwise, it'd be in non-compliance with OSC, state controller regulations. Am I missing anything here? Oh, that's good, thank you.
In summary. Can I ask a question on, in the A fund, since that's all town, is the 1.389, and there's more numbers behind it, per thousand, is that applied also to those that are not in the town?
I'm sorry.
So outside of village, so you have the tax rate per thousand is 1.389484.
Not in the village, you mean?
That's the townwide.
That's everyone in the whole town.
So it's everyone in the whole town,
Yep.
Including the village.
including the village. No, I knew that was us, but I just wanted to make sure it was
Yep,
going,
everybody.
that's the same rate per thousand.
Yep.
So the decrease that they're seeing for their small decrease that you saw is because you applied more sales tax to the DB fund, which is where they give about 1%. Is that correct?
Basically, what happened is, it didn't change the budget, didn't change one iota how we were gonna spend the money. The question was gonna be how we're gonna pay for the.
No,
for the
yeah, I get
person.
that, yeah.
So basically, you're taking the sales tax, which we had applied on the A fund for the
Right.
benefit of 2.5% of the benefit to Altamont, we had to then apply to the highway, because the highway's a DB fund, we have to.
Apply that first.
Well, yes, and I think they're wrong, but.
I agree, and I spoke with them today, the folks that did your audit as well. I talked to the comptroller a few weeks ago, and I talked to them today, and it was a nice conversation. And they were explaining how even their legal team wrote page 11 of your audit, which was the justification, et cetera, how it says that it had to be, eliminated. But I said, but it doesn't say that.
And they said,
And-
they actually said it's implicit in the.
They
sta-
did say that, but
It-
it's not. I explained to them.
Well, it's not even
it's not.
implicit, but again,
Yeah.
you would think, because discretion is mentioned in the statute, giving it to the town board to decide how to use the balance. What I don't understand, and this gets a little hairy, if you've already eliminated the B and the DB funds, so you don't want to wear a property tax, then why does the statute then say that the board has the discretion to use the balance in the DB, B, and A funds? It makes no sense.
How could you possibly do that?
Yeah, right.
If you had already eliminated it?
Right, so I look, the auditing team, we got to know them quite well. They're a nice group, but they kept on saying, you need to talk to our lawyers, you need to talk to our lawyers, and I did. And they basically said, look, we've had this in our books for now 50-plus years, and, sorry. Now, the problem we have, quite honestly, and this goes back to another statute that was passed in 1965. It has to do with the police departments. And it says that if a village, back in 1965, had 4 full-time police officers, then the town had to put its police department in the B fund. Well, whether that was true in 1965, I don't know, but it's not true today. There are not 4 full-time police officers. So if we were here today, we'd have our police department in the A fund, and this whole issue would have gone away, because the police department's about a $5 million item. It just, and I said, oh, if we move it from the B fund to the A fund, can I move the fund balance? That's basically your piggy bank, what you have left over. Sorry, not the right word. But piggy bank of what you have left over in the B fund. Most of that B fund balance was through a series of budgets in which the police department was under budget to contribute to the fund balance. No, you can't move a fund balance between funds. You can move a department, but you can't bring its piggy bank with you. So I said, literally, I have to keep the police department in the B fund, even though the village doesn't have 4 full-time police officers. Yep. If you need to move, they can, at one point, they literally said, before you go, you can spend the money on buy a whole bunch of police cars. You can whittle down your fund balance, which is asinine suggestion, to basically, you want to spend your money, you spend it all now, and then move the police department to the A fund.
By putting 0 on the revenue side of the sales tax in the A fund, because that's how it shows right now. It's about, and I'm just rounding this sort of, it's not an exact number, but you have about a $3 million hole, is how I looked at it, right? But that's about the difference between last year's budget and this year's budget for that fund, hence the raise in the percent per thousand. Does that make sense? Okay. So did you consider looking at the A fund for things that are allowable? And I know things are regulated between the A fund and what could be in the A and the B fund, I get that. But there are some things that you could possibly move to lessen the impact on this, so we're not getting hit as hard. Like, some of the fees, I know we get 350,000 revenues in the A fund. Perhaps the 70,000 for the parks revenues on the B fund could have been moved. Something like that. Is there a way to some of that stuff to kind of help with that $3 million hole so it's not so great? You know what I'm saying? Some of the fees that are collected for Parks and Rec is in the A fund, but a lot of the fees go there, but the other fees go to the other B fund as well. Is there a way to, well, you know, manipulate that to lessen the blow?
One thing we did do to lessen the blow is we moved about, you can correct me on this, about $1.3 million in fund balance and reserves to lessen the blow on the A fund. But basically, the rule of thumb is any department, town departments are, I would say by default in the A fund, unless they're expressly required to be in the B fund. So you've got the police, if you have more than 4 full-time police officers in the village. You also have code enforcement is in the B fund. Fire prevention is in the B fund. Parks and recreation, it's based upon whether or not there was some local law or some requirement passed years and years ago that placed in the B fund. I don't know. Can't find anything about that. So to answer your question, Carrie, yeah, there were things we did, and I think I give Jessica and Darcy a lot of credit. They found about $1.3 million that we probably otherwise would not have done to lessen the blow.
Is it because there's a highway fund in the DB fund? And I'm sorry, I'm hogging up all the time here. Sorry about that. I've been working on it for a while. Because the highway fund is a DB fund, but we have a lot of the highway administration equipment and all that, about 500,000, almost 500,000 in the A fund. You know, is that something that could switch to the highway fund? It
No,
can't.
that's by law.
That one is, it has to be there because it's administrative?
Yep.
Yeah, there's a
Okay.
nice little handout that the New York State Association of Towns.
Yeah, I
provided
read
us.
that. Yeah, I just missed that one,
Yeah,
but I
the
was,
cheat sheet.
yeah, it's still a little general sometimes. It's like,
Well, right.
it's,
We have to read the statute to
Yep.
find out what's going on.
yeah. Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm gonna stop talking for a minute. Do you have something, friends? Nick's thinking, so I know.
I'm
there's
thinking, come back, pass.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if there's some, I'll come back to
Oh,
you,
no,
or
the
John,
only-
sorry.
The only comment I wanted to make, that you were
Okay.
you're mentioning before, is this idea that, you know, reduce doesn't mean eliminate. I think if the state decided they were gonna reduce our property taxes or our sales tax, it would never be to zero, right? Any other place you use the word reduce, it doesn't mean to zero.
And you could look at,
So it was in their rebuttal to
Yeah,
your
rebuttal,
response, where they
I can
argued
tell you
that this was,
4 months
everybody
ago,
knows that.
I was looking at
Yeah.
other state statutes, and the legislature knows what language they should use if you really want to drive it down to zero. They could say eliminate.
Yeah.
They could say reduce to the maximum extent possible. They could do other things, but just say reduce. And then say implicitly that means, reduce means to go to zero is,
Doesn't make logical sense.
it doesn't, but, and the 3 auditors basically looked at a stone face, knowing full well that it's not them, it's their legal team, you know, that they have to, and I wouldn't be surprised if it took them some time to think about this, and Carrie, I think you called over.
I called today, well, I called the other day, and then today I spoke with them for some time.
Who'd you speak to? I just wondered which,
I can tell you if I look in the back of your book.
is it Angel?
No, I spoke with,
Barbara?
it might have been Gary Gifford,
Okay,
Chief of Audits, so,
Yeah.
and he said Barbara is his, who was kind of oversighting, was
Barbara
the oversight
Gordon.
for you,
Yep.
is his equal.
yes.
So one of them was gonna take the call today, and he's the one I spoke with, for some time today. So, and I did disagree about, and I actually had a question down, eliminate, reduce. I said, I need you to tell me directly what this means, and he pointed to the legal part, explained it exactly. I said, well, I'm reading that, and it does not, you know, it doesn't. I agree with, that they're wrong, is what I'm agreeing with on that
It's like
point.
within reason, like reducing means like you can go to this value, 0 is
Right.
eliminate.
I
And
think
we-
our,
and by the way, we
sorry.
did reduce to zero the tax in the B fund. It's only the B fund, the highway fund. So we've never charged a tax in the B fund.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what I was wondering, because I'm trying to wrap my head around Guilderland cannot be an outlier. You can't be different from so many towns that are doing this, but it doesn't have that, they are using sales tax in their As, and I was told today by the controllers, there are people who are doing that, and it's working fine, and they are abiding by the 1262 law.
Right.
So I just don't know, did you reach out, I'm just saying, like Jessica's group, do you reach out to other towns to see how they're
Sure.
doing this? Because I think that's important going
I can answer
forward.
the question.
Yeah.
I reached out to the mayor in Voorheesville
Mm-hmm.
and the supervisor in New Scotland, same situation. Voorheesville is somewhere around 31% of the town. So
Right, they
it's-
are third, yeah.
You can't ignore them. They're not, I mean, they're so big, and the B fund is so big as a result, that it's,
I don't know, Peter, it sounds like you could ignore us, no, sorry. There's
No,
the way
no,
you
no,
phrase
no,
it,
it's
the way you phrase that, I'm like, we can't ignore
No,
that,
no,
but you
But
can.
also the Village of Colony, and I'm not gonna, there's a special section that deals with the Village
Yeah.
of Colony and the village itself.
Yeah,
because of-
it's very large, I went through their budget as well.
Yeah, it just,
Let me open it up to see if anybody, is that okay, or John?
Yeah, I was gonna say, in light of the time.
Because of the time, I
Yeah.
want to make sure, I'm sorry, I had a lot on my mind. Could I, if anybody in the audience wants to come up to the microphone, just tell us who you are, and if you have a question or a thought you want to share with ourselves or the town representatives, that'd be great.
Hi, thanks for the opportunity. My name is Susan Klim. I've lived in the village for 32 years. My concern is why we're having this discussion now, and this wasn't happening before this budget was voted on and passed. And my second question is there something that needs to be done proactively between the village and the town before the next budget comes to review?
okay.
Thank you. Do you want to start, you'll go to the first part.
Well, it starts off with that audit. They basically said it's confidential till it's not. And it's not confidential until the final report comes out, which was 5 days ago. And in fact, the email where they sent us the draft said, to the maximum extent possible, this is supposed to remain confidential. I literally said to them, well, how can I keep something confidential if I have to have public hearings on this budget, have workshops on it? And I said, we're gonna talk about it. But we had to talk about it in very careful terms. Because one of the hopes I had was that their legal department would agree. They would turn around, but there was a concern that they might say, hey, it's already out there, we're already being thrown under the bus, we're gonna stick by it, we're not going to do it, so the bottom line is, we can't, and again, I guess if we had monthly meetings and whatnot, maybe you would have seen the auditors out there and you would have said, hey, what are these guys doing here? And I probably would have said, hey, well, you may want to pay attention.
Yeah, I think it would be helpful even before your budget process, like, I know you have to do the numbers first, just like we do, then you have your workshops. But maybe prior to those especially, we do have a couple trustees, or myself and a trustee, or something like that, just go over it with you, just so we understand if there are
Right.
questions, we can answer them. I
And
mean, not knowing, even if it had to be confidential, finding out from the paper first, just because, our name went in, because you discussed it that night quickly, and that's hard for us, because we can't give the information, we didn't have any,
I
so.
think it also would benefit that, with your budget too, because I know there's a fire protection zone
Yep.
that goes outside the village. And whether it's right or wrong, we didn't know about the going past the 2% number until October.
What 2% number?
The tax was increased on the fire protection zone by, how much was it? 8%?
I think it was like 8, yeah.
This year?
Yeah,
We didn't go beyond,
hell yeah. Yeah,
I don't,
we have it right here.
What did we change on the fire protection?
But what happened was you got it so late, well, it.
we have a percentage with you guys, like, there's a percentage of coverage from the town of Guilderland, and
No,
that
but the
stayed the
increase,
same.
The increase in the
that-
tax rate.
That dollar amount increased.
Dollar amount, but not the rate, but.
Yeah, we have to look
Well,
at
that
it.
dollar amount equates to the rate.
Well, either way, yeah, that's fine too. And that for us is coming up, so that's, it definitely, if something changes. I know we were very consistent with what, we don't go beyond the cap, we stay to the cap, and I didn't think the spending increased too much in the fire
Could there have been a
lines.
change in the ratio?
It might have been a change in the
Within
ratio
5%
because of more
outside.
people versus outside. That could happen.
What happened
Yeah.
is that it was about $17,000 over what we had budgeted,
Yep, something like that.
and then we had to use fund balance to
Sure.
correct
Well,
it.
same scenario. So we'll just make sure that if something's
Right.
changing like that, I don't remember that, but yeah, perhaps it did. Maybe there was one change in a line or something.
It was strange because if we got it on October 28th and the letter is dated November 28th. And I thought that was really weird because it's only like November 1st. It was just weird.
You
was
got it
such-
recently? Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, our budget's
I'll
in
send it-
April, so.
I'll send it to you tomorrow morning.
Okay, that's fine. You can send it to us. Somebody else want to come up to the microphone? I'm sorry, we're taking time here. For anybody else that wants to speak, feel free to come on up.
I don't know that we answered this lady's question.
I did, yeah, we did.
Only one of them.
Oh, the second, what was the second question? I'm sorry.
Going
Oh,
forward.
going
I
forward.
think that's what we were just discussing, I think.
Can I just add one
Oh,
other
sure.
piece to that? And this is confidentiality that keeps getting talked about. If this is gonna affect taxation in the village, and you're saying that that information was confidential and couldn't be shared with village authorities, that to me sounds like taxation without representation.
Yeah, that's probably true.
So for those, just because I have a microphone here, I'm just going to repeat that the comment was made that, you know, if it's confidential and we're taxing people and keeping the information taxing, without telling us about the tax, then it was, you know, taxation without representation is the point, which I agree. I think you're right, because I think those things have to be, they have to be public. So I think we should, you know, you and I can talk about going forward, making some meetings around these certain times of year especially.
And also to this thing,
Using confidential is just awful.
well, the confidential doesn't apply anymore because we're done with the audit.
No, but even through the process, before you got the final review, to even at the board meetings, which I watched the previously recorded ones, to basically tell the audience that it wasn't, that you really can't elaborate because it's confidential. And I don't understand how like something as simple as a government budget would be confidential unless it was for the military. It blows me away. I mean, that's why people are up in arms that the government's just way too big and out of control.
It wasn't the budget that was confidential, it was the findings from the OSC audit that were bound by confidentiality.
But that affects the budget and the taxation.
Right.
Correct, it does, and that's where it had to be worded very carefully, so there was that understanding. I had said, why wasn't the mayor meeting with the supervisor every month throughout the year?
You would think they would have had a meeting with the mayor of the village
Yeah,
before they
there's
brought it
no-
up at the
there
town
used to
board
be-
meeting.
Prior representation from the village used to meet with the supervisor.
And this representation did as well, and Peter will tell you that we did for quite some time.
We did for a while.
So,
That was
yes,
a
we
different
did.
conversation
Yeah.
that was had, and that's
So-
where all of these public meetings are noticed. There was 3 budget workshops that anybody could have stepped in. There was nobody from the.
Okay, and so if somebody asked a question about why you're changing it, how would you have answered?
I did not sit in.
I'm
on all the
I'm just
audits.
saying, that's the point, right, is
Yes, it is.
we can't talk about it, then how can we?
I'm a village resident,
Yeah.
and that was that time where I had to sit there and hear that, and I said to Peter, the best that we can, have something ready when we can make something public knowledge.
So I think that's their point, though, is that,
Yeah,
how do you, how can you call it confidential when you're making
The
changes
findings
and
are
can't?
confidential, so it's a delicate dance to disseminate the information without being in violation of that.
We were told basically that when, I asked the question, I said, hey, we have to keep this report confidential until it's final, and I have to have a public hearing on a budget. And they said, well, that's your problem.
He's absolutely right, they have to keep it confidential until it goes through all their approvals through OSC. I don't work for OSC or anything like that, but he's absolutely right. The question is, when they came to the board and said that they were going to be doing the audit, is it in the meetings that the audit was underway?
So what was underway, I'm sorry?
If the audit was underway, if OSC was looking at the sale, at anything in the department, in the town, including the sales taxes, is there a board meeting minutes where that's been mentioned? Because that would
No.
give people notice that this was actually happening.
No, there was no discussion of the audit, the OSC audit until the budget hearings.
So I'm just going to chime in for the time, and I think, let's move on from, yes, we wish we were notified, we wish you could have told us these things. I hope going forward, we can change that communication part about those things, but I'm kind of more interested in the next steps type of thing. I don't know if other comments, that's what come on up.
Next steps.
Next steps, take
Next
some
step.
steps.
I am Jim Gahn, a resident of Altamont for 43 years. The going forward, and the rather than redo all this, I should have done that, I should have done this, it seems that from what I'm listening to, that despite the fact one could argue that the public hearing that had substantive material that appeared in a paper was done before the audit was official, would seem to me, just cutting edges here, that same amount of information could have been shared with the village before it was made public. Now, that's just making threads on this, but going forward, is there not, my memory was that various functions, cross functions within the town establishes liaisons. Is there a liaison to the village of Altamont? Oh, so my question is, did you reach out at all as a liaison on any level over the last 4 years? Not about just the budget. I'm just interested in how a liaison operates from Guilderland to the village.
I'm at every community event here in this village.
No, I'm talking about with the officials here. So you
So the first
suggested,
liaison is Peter.
you suggested that the mayor and the supervisor should meet monthly. And the first thought that came to my mind, given that the supervisor is big town, very busy, that the liaison should play a role in that as well. So going forward, I hope to see that happen. So that's what I wanted to say about not arguing about the past, whether it was confidential or not confidential. Sometimes we're too smart and for our own good when we try to follow things exactly. I see some cloudy areas that could have been pursued with some courage and not just say, I can't say a word. That's my feeling. But going forward, I hope that same thought doesn't dictate how you behave when things of interest come up to the village, that you come to them and speak to them. That's all I want to say going forward. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Does anybody else have something to say? Sure, come on up.
I'm Mike Hill. I've lived in the village for less than 40 years. I want to thank you for coming here just to talk. And I 100% agree with what you said in your rebuttal to the controller in what Nick and other people have mentioned about reduce versus eliminate. If you look at the language that you cite in 1262, they use the verb reduce twice, and you would literally have to apply a different definition of reduce in each case to fit the controllers. They're wrong. But at the end of the day, State Controller Tom DiNapoli didn't raise my taxes. I mean, you guys did. And I feel that, I thought I heard you quoted that these were mandates. They were recommendations. And I know you're in a bit of a bind, but I've seen recommendations disputed before, granted at state agency levels, but the idea that you have no avenue, I'm not sure I'm totally convinced, and I wish you'd explore every avenue to fight this and to fix this, not just going forward. I think there's a little bit of minimization when you say, like, it's only 1% of this percent. This is literally like $200 to $300 for many of us a year. And when you compound that over 10 years, that's like college savings, retirement savings. It's not to be minimized. And if there's a way out of this, please, not just going forward for the next year, but this is going to compound. If you could just please, maybe just take that extra step and write a public letter to the controller. Maybe check with Romero's office or Fahey's office, something like that.
Yeah, and I've already reached out to both Romero and Fahey, and they are looking into it. Problem is getting to understand what the issue is. I think they should eliminate the word reduce and say the town can use the sales tax in any way it wants, in its sole discretion.
I think, framing it as the controller's making us raise taxes by hundreds of dollars on village residents is an easy thing for a politician to grasp. That's just my opinion. So if you could just fight it still, that's all I'd ask. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else? Yep, you could come up to the microphone, that would help, thanks.
I don't disagree with anyone, but I do disagree with the fact that they do need to keep that confidential even going into the budget process. It's only fair to the auditors themselves. My question is, it says here that the town's response is, the village is part of the town and village residents are residents of the town. So when they do the figuring of the tax distributions, are we counted as village residents and town residents?
No, for the sales tax is shared amongst all the towns and villages and cities based upon population. So whatever percentage of the population of Albany County the village gets, and whatever population that the town gets, the town gets, but does not include the village.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good thing, actually. And my only other thing is, I was trying to understand, who defined the funds themselves? Because the A, B, and
Yeah.
DB fund.
That's the state, right?
The A fund basically is everything unless it's expressly required by statute to be in the B fund. So that's like the police, code enforcement, fire prevention, those sort of things.
Okay, so that's what, it's based on all what's gonna be used by
It's all
everyone, and what's
statutes,
gonna be
all
used just by the
interlocked
town?
with each other. Yep.
Okay, I just didn't understand that because the statute itself says that, it says to reduce part-town activities, and any balance remaining thereof in the discretion of the town. I'm sure you guys know this already.
Yeah.
Maybe applied to, and it says county taxes levied in the area to the town outside of the villages. It's like, you get the outside of the villages, and then you also get it in the back end as well. It's
You're
a
right,
little odd.
exactly. Yeah, and they're basically, we're saying that by the town using sales tax in the village, that the village residents are getting a double benefit of sales tax.
And unfortunately, that's one of the points that I disagree with them on, the word double benefit.
Yeah.
The way they explained it today, how it's written also in their findings, because we don't have so much of a double benefit because we pay double for different things. We pay for 2 libraries, we pay for, highway and public works
Right.
here as well, type of a thing.
And that's
We have a
why-
lot, we have parks, we have double,
I
things.
agree, and that's why I
Yeah.
don't think it's a double benefit.
No,
That's
and
why-
oh, sorry, go ahead, Peter.
That's why that's why I said point one, I said, what the state controller is basically saying is, sales tax is the largest source of revenue that the town has, just barely more than property tax. And they're basically saying that you can't spend that in the village,
Right.
which to me is effectively saying you're treating the village as second class, the town residents, and
Yeah.
something we just refuse to do.
And it does segregate a very small part of your population, where it is, I feel like there's an inequity that way.
Right.
They're saying they're doing it for equity, and I'm telling them,
It's not.
it's not equitable in my view of reading all this. Do you use taxes from others in the B fund? Do you put any of the taxes in the revenues, are there taxes used from outside of Altamont for the B fund as a revenue source or no? I'm just
I
asking.
don't understand the question.
Does any of the property tax go to just the B fund from outside of Altamont?
There is no property tax.
That's what I thought. I just
Yeah.
wanted to, I
We do
couldn't
eliminate
find
it
it
in
quick
the
enough.
B.
We
First.
reduce to zero the tax in the B fund.
Yep.
We don't reduce to zero the tax in the DB highway fund.
Right, okay. That's what I was curious about.
It's,
No, I was going through this today and going through another budget today, what they aim to do with their B fund, and
Right.
anyway. Is there anybody else in the audience?
Hi, I'm Judy Walters Deneen, and I've been in this place 76 years.
We're gonna have a prize at the end, by the way.
I really don't have a question, but I do have statements. I have a real problem. I take on one side, where we have 37,000 people in Guilderland, is that correct? The population?
thereabouts.
Thereabouts. Then we got Altamont, 1,700 people, just a little village, supposedly part of the same town. I don't understand how you can think it's equitable to take this big bunch of people and give them a small, maybe what, $20 decrease in their taxes? And hit this little village with a rather large, especially for senior citizens, well, for anybody, I shouldn't even say that, rather large increase. It just doesn't, I mean, I don't care about the funds. I don't care about A and B and B and C or whatever. It's just not equitable. And I understand when you say, I don't agree, we don't agree, we didn't agree, we don't like that, we agree with this, then I think you should do something. I mean, you can't just say, I don't agree. They said to you to do over to 25, to take a look at 25 and change that. And you said, no, we'll do it in 26. So you did disagree, and you did say no. So if you could say no on 25, I believe that there's still something that you could do. Maybe I'm whistling Dixie, but something you could do to help us out, to spread this over a longer period of time or something. It's just not equitable. I don't know how anybody could let that go down, you know? And on a straight vote, nobody even asked a question. We don't understand that. So, just a comment.
Thank you.
She deserves a round of applause.
Thank you. Does anybody else have anything? Dave, do you have something? Okay. I want to just start to wrap it up, so just, because I know.
First, I wanted to thank everybody for being here. This special session, nobody wants to be here, you'd rather be home. Obviously, there's a lot of confusion. I don't want to be an accountant. I don't want to try to understand all these A, B stuff. But as Judy said, this is inherently unfair to Altamont, all at once, sort of blindsided, very little notice. I know you're all trying, but public opinion is not usually based on fact. It's based on perception. And right now, the perception of this, the appearance of it doesn't look very good for the way this has been handled. Some accounting error made at some budget bureaucracy out of our control, and we get hit with this penalty all at once. So I thank everybody for everything you've tried to do and for your explanations, but I personally still feel that Altamont's getting slighted.
Thanks, Dave.
Actually, I got one quick thing that Dave kind of jogged my memory on. Peter, you mentioned this law has been in effect since the 60s?
1965.
And there's been other town audits since then? The comptroller never noticed this
Well,
until?
that's what we said. We file our annual financial disclosure every year. We're very open about how we shared our sales tax with Altamont. Not once was it questioned. I don't know when the last time you guys been audited, but I tell you, it's not a pleasant experience.
Yeah, I'd want to go with a dozen years ago, 10, maybe 10 years
You're
ago.
probably due-
Sure, yeah.
You're due soon.
We are. Moving forward, again, I would still like to see if there's something that could be amended to lessen the blow. That, I would ask that, take another look at that. I'd also say, I would like to have us work with you on working with our representatives in the state, seeing if we can get this law looked at a little bit, talk about, how you use sales tax. We can't be the only ones that maybe have this issue, maybe. I do know other villages not having the issue, but I don't think we shouldn't be the outliers. It should work one way or another, whether it be moving stuff around or getting them to amend the law eventually. I don't know, like you said, they weren't recognizing things in 65 that we have now. But I do think we should, especially the town, because it's you, but we could join you, because I think that makes it stronger. Whether it's writing a letter together, or having a meeting with that, I don't know, but something. Bringing it especially to our representatives for the state. And asking for some, help on this directly, like we need them to step up and do something.
Okay.
I think that might be a good, at least something to do.
Yeah, I have to imagine I understand what we're saying, that Voorheesville, New Scotland, Colony, they're different beasts than Altamont, Guilderland, but in the wide world of New York State, there has to be other towns with
There are.
tiny little villages.
There are.
I'm sure there
Right.
are, and Nick, I'm sure you're gonna find them
We're
for
gonna
us.
find all like
Oh, I have
1,200
read.
people.
No,
villages.
you know, Google's great sometimes, because
Yeah.
I did Google several, villages
No, I just mean,
around
it's
the
not
state.
just an Altamont Guilderland thing, right? And I think that might help us get the
There are
message to
a couple
our
others that were
legislators.
audited similar to you
Right.
in the past years with the same issue about sales
And I
tax.
still think one of the second issues is how are the police departments handled between the village and town? Because within days of that statute being adopted in 1965, that police statute was also adopted.
Sure.
If it had not been adopted, police department would be in the A fund right now,
Yeah.
but I can't move it.
Can any of the revenue fees be moved into the A fund from the, because some of them seem to coincide with expenses that are in the A fund?
It has to sit with the related department. So if that department sits in the B, the revenue has to sit. in
No,
the
but
B.
like, say Parks and Rec, that's in the A, but there are fees, we do get some, but there are still some in the B.
Rec is in the A and Parks is in B, and each related revenue is in each.
Okay.
Actually.
But also, another example of a crazy system. The parks are in the B fund, meaning it does not include Altamont. But yet Altamont residents can go to all town parks.
Sure.
Town residents go
town
to the village parks. I mean, so it makes no sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's almost like they put a little island or a little moat around the
Sure.
village, and basically saying you can't spend money there.
Does anybody on the board have anything else at this point? Well,
Okay,
I
thank you.
do thank you for coming. I really,
Yeah,
I think,
thank you.
I appreciate it. Even if we don't like the information we're hearing, we do appreciate and respect the fact that you came here to talk with us and talk through it, which is what we should be doing. And, we'll have to touch base. I know we have other things to talk about soon.
Yes, we do.
It's on our agenda. If you haven't read it yet, we're very excited that we did get a grant, which we'll talk about shortly, for the water line, transmission line to connect to the town of Guilderland. It came in last week, so it's very exciting, so we have some talking to
We
do.
have a lot to talk about.
We have a lot to talk about. But thank you all for coming. We appreciate you
Thank you.
taking the evening to come out. And we'll take about a minute break, so just so people that want to go can go. We'll just take a minute and feel free to,
Thanks again.
before we start again.
Thank you.
And thank you all residents who came out. I apologize, I didn't say it again. Or you can stay.
Remember, reminding myself here.
Oh, gavel? I need a baby gavel. Because we're on there right now, we're being filmed. You look familiar. How are you? We're still on air.
Happy to sit in the back and let you guys take it.
I appreciate it.
That'd be something that might be able to go in the lobby of the town hall. I can send you all that. Okay, I'll follow up. Okay, yeah. If we can just store it.
Oh, jeez.
Should you come to the?
I am going to start, Sandra. I think that
She's
you're
getting
not-
a mic.
Oh,
She's getting a mic.
Excellent. I thought you were, I was going to say, I'm going to start.
All right, we can just start going. We did the pledge already. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. For those of you who are still here, I'm going to start part 2 of our village board meeting. Feel free to come and go as you need to. But I'm glad you're still here because there's some exciting stuff coming at you. Okay. There's agendas in the back of the room if you didn't have that opportunity. I'm going to say, outside of the written report, fire department, is there anything else you'd like to add tonight? Okay, nothing tonight. Police department, would you like to add anything?
Just a quick.
Sure.
Just remind people to be courteous, and when you know snow's coming, please get your cars off the road so the plows can do a job and make it safe for everybody to use the roads.
How did it go this storm with that?
I didn't get no complaints, so
Okay.
I'm assuming it went well.
We
I
put
didn't
out a
hear from Chief
nixle
Davis.
about reminders, parking reminders, so hopefully that helped. So,
I believe it did.
okay, good. Thank
I do
you.
have a question about that.
Sure.
If somebody parks on the their lawn, is that parking on the street?
Nope,
So if they're just off the road,
they gotta be off the road, yeah. So it's more or less for the plowing, is the main reason for that
but,
whole
but
purpose.
if you're in the plow, you can't go that close to the car. If they're, no, if the road is here and they're on their front lawn over here, the plow is still going like this.
As long as they ain't in the road.
Yeah, I guess that's the risk you take parking that close to the road. I
Yeah,
guess.
there are exceptions too, you can't block the sidewalk, you can't block a.
Curb cut.
Can't block someone else's
Yep.
driveway, there are some exceptions to that, but.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't have a Public Works rep this evening here. I will tell you that we had the sign up on our digital sign out front. Loose leaf collection completed about a week or so ago. We have snow now, so I think you probably figured that out. But that is done. They will continue to pick up some bags, but not much longer until Christmas trees start going outside. Then they pick those up around January, I think. But that's it for now as far as the DPW goes. I'll say thank you to them for the clearing of the sidewalks. They got to everything today, and they did a nice job getting everything cleared out quickly, so that was great. Public comment. If you have anything you'd like to comment this evening, the microphone's in a different spot, but we welcome you to come up and share your thoughts with us. I feel like we should move there, but I can't get seen.
I always get to do the fun stuff, right?
Yes.
I just wanted to remind everybody about Winterfest, which is coming up on Sunday, December 14th. We'll meet up in Orsini Park for the pet parade. And this year we'll have carriage rides again, which will start after the pet parade. The library will be open. Most of our activities acts will be in the Masonic. We'll have the raffle, which everybody likes. Some of the businesses will be open and with special things going on, so it should be fun. We'll have a living nativity. Thank you, Judy. I'm sorry, I always forget. So, and then equal time, the St. John's is doing a Christmas caroling event at 4 with live organ music. So that should be really, really beautiful.
That was looked good last year, too.
Yeah. I missed it because I was counting raffle tickets. So this year I'm going to try to get out of there and go here. Any questions? Thanks to DPW and the police, as always, for keeping everybody safe.
I was just about to ask that, too.
They're going to start, like we did it a couple years ago, they'll start sort of on Park near the post office, right on the side of Orsini. It's the same carriage that is going to be in the Fairy Christmas and the fair, and they'll go off into the fair, kind of go around. I should let Ted, because you talked to them about it, and then come back, so. They won't be like in the village, on the village streets, except for like 100 yards or something.
Is it something that we should consider closing off the front of Park Street for? It is a Sunday, because we've done that for a recent event, maybe that.
That's a good idea.
I mean, with a horse carriage and people, it seems to me that would be safer.
And cars, yeah, it would be great to put sawhorses or something across.
Would that be okay with you, Todd?
Yeah.
Okay.
I could make a motion that we close, because didn't we do that last time? Didn't we make a motion to close Park Street for that event? So I'd make a motion that we, sorry.
The only problem with that is the post office, but it's closed on Sunday.
Well, that's what I was
There might
thinking.
be delivery trucks there, I'm not sure we should.
But
It wasn't
what we,
closing the entire Park Street, it was just the first half.
it's just the first half of Park Street. Yeah, that's true. That might be a hard, yeah.
Well, you get paid for the whole day, so I don't know what time, if they get a late delivery there, or what time they would get a delivery truck. I could call, but either way.
Couldn't they go down around Fairview and
I see those post office vans all the time on Sunday.
True, you
Yeah.
do. I forgot about that.
But that's what I'm saying, if you just close the first half.
Just the first half, the other half.
Yeah, but they're going to the second half. They're going to past the post office to the fair.
But still, I think even
Okay,
just
what you're
closing,
saying, yeah.
even just closing that length
Okay.
cuts down on the amount of cars and
True.
people and
Okay.
horses.
So they could still.
You'd have
get
to go out
the
of your
post
way
office.
to interfere with the carriage at that point.
All right, so I think that's what we would do. We'd close off the Main Street section. Okay, so I'd make a motion to close off Park at Main for the Winterfest event on December 14th.
So moved.
Second? Michelle, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, well, there we go. Look at that.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome.
Fast action from the village government.
Takes a village. See, I've got everybody involved there. Okay. More
Any
public
other-
comment. I apologize. I'm still up there. Nobody? Okay.
Is this the point where we can make a comment on?
Sure, on anything on here, sure.
My name's Jim Gage. I've lived in Altamont for 73 years. 73 years today. Two questions. How many vehicles does the police department currently have?
3? Am I wrong?
Yeah, well, we have 2 that are on.
Two in service.
We're more or less saying use it, and we're waiting on the new vehicle, so we currently have 4.
But one is going
We
away.
have 2 we're going away.
Sorry. that's-
So then it'll be 2 vehicles all the time.
No, we actually have 3 total because our chief has a vehicle. Always has, yeah. So that's the 3rd.
Second question, considering the authorization of $35,000 from the sidewalk capital reserve, subject to referendum for Maple Avenue, Bozenkill Road improvement, what kind of improvements?
So this is the grant we got in 2024 for a sidewalk that goes from Sunset Drive all the way down to Indian Meadows Path. And it includes stormwater improvements, so everything, that big deep ditch that's there, that will be piped, and the sidewalk will be there, the pipe will be there, so it won't be open or dangerous anymore. So it goes all the way, I don't know how long that is, but if you know where Indian Meadows is. So this is, we've been putting some money aside for our sidewalks, but then we have to pay, we started the grant process, the design is almost done. We had a meeting last week. It's supposed to be constructed next summer. It's already gotten pushed a little. It might be the fall, but we have to pay the bills as we go along. We did get a grant for it, but we get reimbursed later, as we go.
What about the rest of the sidewalks within the confines of the village? And I'm gonna make a statement, you can agree or disagree, but we spent a lot of money on sidewalks. More people walking the road than they do on a sidewalk on the side streets. And you see them walking down Main Street all the time. For what reason, I don't know, but that's just my observation.
Well, for the majority of our sidewalks, we get grants to do them. The big sections, they've all been covered by grants in the past where we've only had to pay a very small portion. The smaller sections, like, well, that was a big one. Orsini Park, we did in-house because we budget $10,000 every year and we do what we can. So we've always done it in steps. But the big sections, big projects like this, that cost, what's the cost on this now? $1.8 million we've gotten a grant for.
Okay, so then on a personal note, I've lived on Prospect Terrace the majority of those 73 years. We have literally no sidewalks. Families on the street, very, very busy street. When people look for Agway or whatever, they go up to the end of the street and turn around. I was told years ago that I would never see them in my lifetime. And I think that's a pretty good statement from the individual that made it. Is there a future for sidewalks on Prospect Terrace?
There could be. I mean, we've been rotating and doing them as we can. Fairview just got theirs. Lark, who didn't have one either forever, and that's a very narrow road, so we really wanted to get something there because it was very dangerous. They just got theirs a few years ago, and that we did, one was a grant and one was in-house. So we work towards this constantly. We're always
All right,
adding. So
well-
Prospect is something we could look at in a couple of years after we get this one paid off.
I'll be looking forward to it. But
Okay.
Prospect Terrace is no wider than all the rest of the sites.
No, I don't disagree. You know, absolutely.
I'm not gonna, this may be a little biased, but I live in Prospect too, and I would like sidewalks.
You know,
That's why I voted for you.
Yeah.
Where's the sidewalks?
Because you're a nice guy. You're my neighbor.
Not to be biased, but I look.
We really have prioritized infrastructure, whether it be water mains, upgrading our sewer, putting in new turnoffs for our water lines and sidewalks. I mean, we have done that for some years now. I really am proud of what we've accomplished. And it keeps, every year we have a project. So we will put that on the list. We'll look at that one next because I don't have an issue with that, you know?
No, I actually agree, because there are
Yeah.
trucks that go and service
Absolutely.
Agway that.
No, yeah, I
warrant
think that would be great. That'd be a nice next project, so. Oh, anybody
Anybody
else
else?
have something for the? No? Well, with that said, I think I'll start on the agenda. We're going to go to item number 1, which is consider approval of treasurer's abstracts 12 and 13 and transfer of funds as submitted. What that means is we've had a chance to look at the vouchers and the expenditures for the month and sign them. Could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
John is first, second.
Second.
Sandra, and roll call, please.
Trustee Serafino?
In favor.
Trustee Ganance?
In favor.
Trustee Farrakhan?
In favor.
Trustee Scally?
In favor.
Mayor Denine?
In favor. Consider authorizing Mayor Denine to sign First Amendment to ground lease with Spectrum Northeast LLC contingent upon approval of Village Council for property located at 68 Sturgis Road, Knox, New York. The term of the lease is extended commencing April 1st, 2026 and ending in March 2031. This, for those of you who have not known about this, we have a lease on our reservoir property, which was about 303 acres up in Knox. And we have a lease there's a small Time Warner building up there, or Spectrum now, I guess they're called, that they use for some infrastructure. And we've always had agreements with them that renew every 5 years, but it was expired, and so we just renegotiated with them, and this is for that. So could I have a motion?
So moved.
Nick is first, and second?
I'll second.
Michelle? And roll call, please.
Trustee Serafino?
In favor.
Trustee Ganance?
In favor.
Trustee Farrakhan?
In favor.
Trustee Scally?
In favor.
Mayor Denine?
In favor. Item number 3 is consider authorizing Mayor Denine to sign consent and crossing agreement with Spectrum Northeast LLC for property located at 68 Sturgis Road, Knox, New York. Just a little background on this too. We have an agreement with a solar group, New Leaf Energy, that there's been a project they're working on to get us to have some solar panels up there on 5 of those same acres, and they needed crossing permission with some of the Time Warner Spectrum areas. So this is between them, but us too, because it's our property. So that's what that is. Could I have a motion?
So moved.
John is first and second.
I'll second.
Sandra? And roll call, please.
Trustee Serafino?
In favor.
Trustee Ganance?
In favor.
Trustee Farrakhan?
In favor.
Trustee Scally?
In favor.
Mayor Denine?
In favor. For item number 4, I'll go through all the words in just a minute. This is what I talked about really briefly, so I think it's been in the news and covered quite a bit. We've worked on it for some time, which was because of the issues we have with the manganese at the Brandel Road wells and having to go back and forth with we only have the one well that doesn't have an issue at Gun Club Road. We really felt that it was very important to have an emergency transmission line with the town. So if we had any issue emergency-wise, whether it be drought or something happens we didn't have water right now, we could tie in, or we'd be tied in and have water. And the town has these same transmission lines with Voorheesville, New Scotland, Albany, Rotterdam, but they never had one with us. It's expensive to do this. You know, we're talking, at this point in time, they're talking about $4 million. We're hoping it's not that much, but that was the first quote we have. And the solution to fix our Brandel Road wells is a great one and less expensive, but not available yet, and we don't know when it would be. And we need this fixed sooner than later. So our engineer submitted this application for grant funding, and surprise, I didn't think we might get it because it wasn't scoring like I had hoped, the project itself. And then we got the great news last week that we were selected, and they gave us a $3.38 million grant to do this.
Wow.
And it's a 70-30 grant, which although we will have to, take care of some of it on our end, it was a big deal because it's about drinking water. They actually upped it to the 70%, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
So this next step here on number 4 is a procedural step. Kate, do you have a question?
I don't have a question, but I would like you to restate for folks who are not aware what it means to have an emergency line with Gilder Line.
Okay. So what it means to have, and if I say the wrong, not what you're hoping, let me know. If emergency line with Guilderland is we are not purchasing water from Guilderland. It is an emergency should we need it. So many, many years ago, this idea came up to do this because there was a drought one summer that really taxed our well to the point that it was so low they were worried. Our superintendent, 2 superintendents ago, was very worried about it. So, and that's when they started looking for more water, and they went to the Brandel Road wells, so they had more water. This is what that's for. It is not to develop. It is not for people to add on to it. So, oh, we have water from Gilliland. We're not having water. It's basically for emergency for our use in this village or to our
In
users.
our water system.
Our water system. So we have some outside users, and that's fine. But I know there were people in the town worried about development. This is not for development. It would be a village-owned line. And just like we have lines going out every direction of Altamont, you've noticed development hasn't happened. We know how to say no. We actually know we're at capacity for outside users. So this is just to help out our current users,
Just
should
an
we need it.
emergency.
And we hope we never need it, but it's a great thing. So we're hoping to have this going on in about 2 years. Like, that's what we're aiming for.
The 70-30, our part is 30. Does Gilderland share with that?
No, not at this point in time. It is one of those things that comes up that is, generally would be bonded out at some point. We'll see how that looks. We don't know the financials yet, because we don't have the true cost of it. We're hoping it's not the estimate we submitted. That was going towards the high. We actually, our engineers, they always go higher than lower. We don't think it will be that, so our share would be less. As you know, schools do bonds, towns do bonds, things like that happens. The good news, it's not really great news, but we have a water bond now. It's just about ending. So it's great. It was almost like one would replace the other. So when we get to the financials and the public part of it, we'll have all those numbers eventually. That's down the road. But we should be able to swing it.
But I'd add, right, it kind of wouldn't make sense for the town to pay for it because it's not going to help the town residents, except for the ones in our water system. It's not like we are going to end up supplying, if I remember correctly, the water pressure differential would make it almost impossible for the water to go the other way.
Yeah.
So it's really a benefit for our water system users.
Yeah. And again, if we are joint owners, then of course there will be an agreement, and that's what Supervisor Barber was talking about. We have to come up with an agreement. They have it with all those other municipalities. You have to have an agreement to, how much would we buy water from should we need it? How much, all these things. That no development will happen. And, I think it's sometimes good that they don't own it too, because maybe they would want to use it differently too. I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe, if they have a use for it, they would chip in some money. I don't know that either. So we haven't had those conversations yet.
And you stated in the past that we're one of the few municipalities that are not connected.
We're either the one or one of very few. I haven't found another one yet, but I
Yeah.
think interconnections are so important, and we haven't had it.
It's important.
So it's really important for us to have for the future. You gotta think down the road.
It's kind of crazy that the village of Voorheesville is connected to the town of
To the town of Gilliland.
Yeah.
And Rotterdam, and all of them. They're all connected to Gilliland, not us though. Yes.
So if we do tap into Gillen Water System, is there any, do we have to pay them water?
So
How's the expense work on that?
I'm just going to repeat the question just because you're back there and I want people there. The question was, do we have to pay for water if we get water from Gilliland? Yes. There will be a price set. I'm hoping that because we're town residents, they will be generous, especially after what happened. No, who knows? But we will negotiate and talk to them about that. And there's some standard rates. There are things that, municipalities, towns do with these lines. So there are standard rates that are used for this situation.
Well, and I'd say too, right, the idea is this is like an emergency interconnect, right? Like you were mentioning before, if we had drought conditions, and if it was so bad, I remember asking, who was the last, Jeff Mueller, about what would happen if all of a sudden our things died? Like, would we turn the reservoir back on? No, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
We would basically have to truck in water, and that would cost money too. But it's not like that money would get added to your water bill. That's something that we would have to figure out within the water system.
Yeah. Yep.
Does that help or make sense?
Yeah, when we get to that point, we will have an agreement before we even get to the project. It has to actually go that direction. We have to have that first, so.
And it's emergency use, not.
It's
not a
emergency
regular-
use. Yeah, that is emergency use. No development. We're not looking to do that. And we're not looking to increase our water usage in the village. Because again, it will cost us down the line. So it's not something we want to continually budget for, because the water rents have to support the system, and they wouldn't then, and your water rates then would go way, way up. So we'll hope for the best. But going forward would be consider extending Request for qualifications for the qualifications-based procurement of an engineering firm to assist with water system improvements for the Village of Altamont. The proposed improvements include construction of a pump station and flow metering and transmission main from the town of Guilderland's water system at Guilderland Center to the Village of Altamont's connection on Route 146 to allow the village to purchase water from the town. Could I have a motion?
So moved.
Sandra is first, and second?
I'll second.
John? And roll call, please.
Trustee Serafino?
In favor?
Trustee Ganance?
In favor.
Trustee Farrakhan?
In favor.
Trustee Scally?
In favor.
Mayor Denine.
In favor. Item 5 is consider authorization. Well, thank you. We're very excited.
Yeah.
And I should thank, honestly, with the grant itself, all of our representatives from the town, the county, the state, and the federal government all wrote letters of support and helped push for this as well. So besides us, we did that as well. But I mean, they really, that really helps with these things. They all came through, they all supported it. So I will thank them too. Consider authorization to expend $35,000 from the Sidewalk Reserve Fund, subject to permissive referendum for the Maple Avenue Bozenkill Road Improvements Project per request of Heather Kelly, Treasurer. Can I have a motion? Michelle?
I'll second.
And Nick is second. And roll call, please.
Trustee Serafino?
In favor?
Trustee Ganance?
In favor.
Trustee Farrakhan?
In favor.
Trustee Scally?
In favor.
Mayor Denine.
In favor. Consider authorization to expend $10,000 from the Police Car Capital Reserve Fund, subject to permissive referendum towards the purchase of a Ford Explorer police vehicle, purchase price $44,327.99 per request of Heather Kelly, Treasurer. And this does not have a budget impact. This is from our fund. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
John, and second?
I'll second.
Sandra? And roll call.
Trustee Serafino?
In favor?
Trustee Ganance?
In favor.
Trustee Farrakhan?
In favor.
Trustee Scally?
In favor.
Mayor Denine.
In favor. 7 is consider approving renewal of enhanced plan with New York State Volunteer Firefighter Cancer Benefit Program for Altamont Fire Department's eligible volunteer firefighter members. That's a mouthful. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Michelle is first,
Second.
and Nick is second, and roll call, please.
Trustee Serafino?
In favor?
Trustee Ganance?
In favor.
Trustee Farrakhan?
In favor.
Trustee Scally?
In favor.
Mayor Denine.
In favor. Item 8 is consider authorizing Mayor Denine to sign letter permitting RBC Wealth Management to issue a payment of $4,419.28 to Dorothy Ernst, Altamont Fire Department member. Payment represents Ms. Ernst's December 31st, 2024 account balance. Ms. Ernst is withdrawing the amount accumulated in the fund, and there is no village budget impact. Could I have a motion?
So moved.
Sandra, and second?
I'll second.
Nick? And roll call, please.
Trustee Serafino?
In favor?
Trustee Ganance?
In favor.
Trustee Farrakhan?
In favor.
Trustee Scally?
In favor.
Mayor Denine.
In favor. Consider approving Altamont Fire Department's participation in the following events: 6th Annual Peter Becker Christmas Parade on December 13th, Holiday Lights Car Parade on December 21st, per request of Paul Miller, Chief. Can I have a motion?
So,
Nick is first,
Second.
second Michelle, and roll call.
Trustee Serafino?
In favor?
Trustee Ganance?
In favor.
Trustee Farrakhan?
in favor.
Trustee Scally?
In favor.
Mayor Denine.
In favor. Chief, can I ask you where the 6th Annual Parade is, the Peter Becker Parade? Where is that?
That one's up in Bern.
Oh, okay, I didn't know what it was called. Okay, nice. All right, just double checking, I was just curious. Consider, number 10, approval of board minutes for November 5th, 2025.
So moved.
Oh, John beat you on that one. Sandra, you'd be second?
Second, yes.
All right, Sandra is second. And roll call, please.
Trustee Serafino?
In favor?
Trustee Ganance?
Oh, in favor.
Trustee Farrakhan?
Abstain.
Trustee Scally?
Sorry.
In favor.
Had to be difficult.
Mayor Denine.
In favor. Before we get, number 11, we have to go into executive session this evening. We'll get to that in 2 seconds. I just wanted, because you might be here when we come back, but we don't know when we'll be back. So if we don't see you, I just want to say have a great holiday season, and we wish you the best for the new year as well. I really do thank everybody for coming out, and I know some people had to leave, but it was so nice to see a turnout for things. I talk a lot, obviously, but I wanted, since you're here, to let you know what all these wonderful things are that have been happening around the village. But it's nice to have input. We're discouraged just as much as you are with what happened with the town. And, you know, I'm hoping we can find some movement going forward with them to, you know, see that this impact doesn't happen again. I'm worried about the following years, what I'm more worried about. This is bad, but I'm worried about the increased cost in that fund they have and how it could affect us, and maybe it won't, I could be wrong. But I'm more looking to talk more about doing something with the comptroller's office and that law and see if we can make any headway there over the next, you know, before next fall. That would be the goal, I think. So thank you again for coming out. I'm going to say item 11 is consider entering into executive session to receive privileged advice and legal counsel from our village attorney. That's outside the scope of the open meetings law. Could I have a motion?
So moved.
Michelle, second.
Second.
Is Nick? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Have a safe drive home. It's slippery up there.